Thank you very much, ma'am, and good morning to all. First of all, Kamarale, and my greatest respect, of course, respecting our Holy Father in heaven, and of course, recognizing and respecting Mr. Omar as the resident officer, and all that are here from our FSM entities, representative from the departments and entities who's doing the implementation, as well as the World Bank team and CINI and the folks from TOFA. So let me just move on to extending and expressing my respect to all and welcome to this portfolio meeting. Again, good morning. Our last country portfolio, CPPR, was held on December 12th last year, 2024, with the aim reviewing the overall performance of the bank funded projects with a focus of identifying challenges and cross-cutting issues, and thereafter agree on time-bound action plan, improve portfolio and performance. Today, we are here again together again to review the progress that has been made too far. This portfolio review is a chance for all parties, that is implementing agencies, departments, TOFA, and of course our great partner in World Bank, to reflect on how to further improve implementation, specifically with the aim to ensuring timely implementation, so that projects' benefits can be seen and felt by the citizens of this country. I trust we, the implementing team, TOFA and World Bank, as partners, will have a productive engagement. I am looking forward to the result of the technical discussions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Deputy Secretary Soos, and welcome again. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Assistant Secretary Seni, who has been really doing the heavy lifting and organizing the second CPPR session, following on the November-December one, where we had, as you know, technical sessions and a joint country portfolio performance review presentation with an overview of the systemic issues, the portfolio, and how we can resolve some of the issues that were plaguing the portfolio. With respects to all, and welcome to these technical sessions. Assistant secretaries and secretaries from implementing agencies, departments, and other senior government officials, the CIU representatives, as well as the PIUs, who are doing the day-to-day work across all the projects. Ladies and gentlemen, it's really a pleasure for me to welcome you here today. This is all in preparation for tomorrow's event, where we will sit down with the Secretary Rose, who's on her way back from Tokyo. She will arrive today, and tomorrow she will be present also to jointly chair that the overview presentation and the discussions of the portfolio at large. But first we have to go through these technical sessions where we identify project by project what the progress was that has been made, what are the issues that we are facing, and how we can resolve them jointly, whether it's from the bank side or the government side. And we appreciate your collaboration here. The difference with the previous one is that the lead for organizing the CPPR was really squarely with DOFA, and Assistant Secretary Seni has been working day and night over the past few weeks to make sure that this has been done together with the CIUs and the PIUs and the implementing agencies. So we are very grateful for that, and we hope that this continues in the future, because this is truly a joint effort from all of us. Just a quick update on how the portfolio has evolved since we last met. Since we last met, 2 additional projects have been approved, the PFM2 project as well as the ARISE project. So we have added another, I think, over $50 million to the portfolio. So the portfolio now stands at overall commitments of $344 million, which is quite large and sizable for a country like FSM. but nevertheless, the needs are still much bigger than what the portfolio composition is like. So we also like to continue working with other development partners and making sure that we attain our shared goals. In terms of overall performance, I'm happy to note that we have done quite well so far. The overall portfolio-wide disbursement ratio stands at just almost 15.5%, which is more than double what was achieved in the whole of last fiscal year. So that's already a step in the good direction. There still remains work to be done to attain the target of overall to reach and hopefully exceed 20% disbursement ratio this fiscal year. When I talk about fiscal year, our fiscal year runs from July to June. So we still have a few months to go. So I hope we can catch up on achieving the target that we set ourselves during our last CPPR meeting. So today we really look forward to hear from you, from the project managers and the implementing agencies on the progress to date, the challenges, bottlenecks, and recommended actions to improve implementation and take this forward. So, and I count on all of your active participation in the presentations, and our task teams are present to help clarify or add to anything that might be have been omitted in the presentations. But thank you. Without further ado, I would hand over to the first team. Or Carlene, do you want to?
So morning everybody. Maybe we can just do a quick introduction of the people in the room and then the people online. So I'll just start. My name is Carlene Francis. I'm the Senior Operations Officer here in the Berkeley office.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Morale. My name is Rachel Solomon. I'm the focal point for the Everton Skills and Employability Enhancement Project working at Everton Department of Education.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sandy Philip. I'm the Assistant Secretary for Investment and International Finance at TOFA.
Good morning again. Omar Lias, Resident Representative for the World Bank, covering FSM, RMI, and Palau.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sos John. I'm the Deputy Secretary for the Department of Finance.
Good morning, everyone. I am Cppr April. I'm a social safeguard specialist under the Department of Finance, working as a consultant as a part of the Central Implementation Unit. Thank you.
Good morning. Mihai Keller, I'm the Assistant Secretary for our Division of Quality and Effectiveness, the Department of Education, but currently serving as the Acting Secretary for this department. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Hyun Jung Lee. I'm the Project Manager for the C project.
Hi, good morning. My name is
This is the mic.
The microphone.
Good morning. My name is Alvaro Rogers. I'm the Communication Specialist at the Central Implementation Unit.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Angeline Nathan. I am the C Project Assistant.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Arya Abdullah. I'm the PFM Project Officer under TOFA.
Good morning. My name is Elena. I'm the STC for PFM 1.
Good morning. I'm Linda Rhodes, the project manager for the PFM 1 project.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Bonnie Solis, and I'm the World Bank TPO for the PFM project and also the World Bank Regional Coordinator for Financial Management.
Good morning, everyone. Jamel James from Marma, the Assistant Director, currently serving as the
Good morning, everybody. My name is Valerie Holly, and I'm the Project Assistant for the Cppr project.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Corporate Julia, the World Bank Procurement Specialist for 7.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Leola Primo, working with the Energy and Water Division at R&D as a program manager.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Renee Alexa. I'm the project officer for CPR.
Good morning, everyone. Oh, sorry. Good morning, everybody. My name is Leona Albert. I'm the CIU program officer.
So welcome everyone in the room, online. We'll start with Julia. You can introduce yourself.
Hi, good morning everyone. My name is Julia Simoner. I'm a Senior Social Protection Specialist based in Suma. Nice to meet you.
Lauren.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Tufik. I'm the Operations Officer based in Sydney.
Lawrence, can you hear us?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. My name is Lawrence Njuba, the M&E Specialist at SCA.
Jane.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jim Mukili, Procurement Advisor at CIU.
Thank you, Sean.
Good morning, everyone. Sean Powers, Senior Education Economist based in Sydney, and I'm the co-team leader for the C project.
Kwame.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Kwame Shara. I'm the CLU program. Thank you.
Rodney.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Rodney Sultani. I'm the project manager for the Access and Renewable Increase for Sustainable Energy project that was approved recently.
And Andrew.
Good morning, everybody.
Okay, thank you all. Zyda was online, but I think she left. We're gonna ask those online to keep to be on mute, and then when we have the open session, you can indicate if you wish to speak. Again, I'd like to welcome everyone. If you're not clear, you are at the technical sessions of the CPPR. We're very excited that you could join us today, and we look forward to all the presentations. So we'll start first with the FSM Skills and Employability Enhancement Project. So I will load. We will share the project presentation. Go ahead.
Thanks, Carlin. Well, good morning, and how are we today? Not so good? Okay.
Very good, very good.
Good, thank you.
All right, well, thank you very much for the opportunity to share the progress of the C project. Again, my name is Hyunjung Lee. I'm currently supporting the FSM National Department of Education in implementing the FSM Skills and Employability Enhancement Project, or C project. So we're here with our implementing agency, again, represented by our acting secretary, the TVET or CT specialist, and also the PIU. So it was actually preparing for the CPPR this time. It was a great opportunity, I think, for us to reflect on basically what we have accomplished since the first CPPR 3 months ago. Some of the challenges, and also where we're headed next to ensure the project's success and sustainability. So just briefly, the C project is really about building local capacity and human capital by improving vocational education programs, also improving access to employment and also employment support services. So the project was approved on May 2nd, 2022, but then it became effective about a year later. in February 2023. The project is expected to be completed by June 30th, 2027. So we have about 2 more years to go. And when we look at the current status of the project, if you look at the bottom of the slide, the amount that was approved for the C project was $17.7 million. As of today, if one of the direct payments that we're trying to, or the FM or the CIS has been trying to make, actually went through the system, then as of today, we've dispersed about $2 million. And I remember during the first CPPR, again, like 3 months ago, the number that I reported was around $1.34 million. So over the past 3 months, we've spent approximately additional $660,000. And given that December and January are usually the lightest month of the year, I think we're making some good progress. When we look at the undispersed balance, it's still quite high at $14.83 million. So here, I won't go through the details, but it's something that we actually wanted to highlight a few things. So the C project has 5 PDO indicators, as you can see. And one thing that I wanted to highlight is that with the first year of on-the-ground activities completed just last year, and with the second year already halfway through, I think we're on a strong trajectory. Just looking at those PDO targets and where we are now. But in terms of those numbers, if you have any questions, just let me know. But basically, some of the activities by the end of this year, because we're going to complete the second year of the for example, school level activities by October, we'll see a lot more progress to those PDO targets. We also do have 9 intermediate result indicators by components, and some of the IRI targets we already exceeded the end targets, but we also see some of the indicators such as the 4th or 5th one. Pardon me, could you just move on to the next slide? So for example, if we look at the 4th or 5th one, the number of curricula developed for target occupations or the number of teachers completed TOTs, we're still at 0. It's because we're starting those activities either this year or next year. So by the end of next fiscal year, or at the end of 2026, we'll have a lot more progress to meet those targets. So with the additional activities for the rest of this year and throughout 2026, we're very confident that we will remain on track to fully achieve those PDO and IRI targets. So this is the C project disbursement history for the past 2 fiscal years, the World Bank fiscal years. So the only information that has been updated for the current with the CPPR is the last 2 columns and the table at the bottom. So if we look at the last 2 columns, for example, disbursed amount in fiscal year 2025 to date, here March 31st, 2025. So we've disbursed around $0.783 million. And I recall 3 months ago the number was like around $0.2 something or $0.3 million. And also that $0.783 million is around 4.43% rate of disbursement just for this fiscal year. So, so since the project became effective, so we've dispersed around $2 million if you look at the table at the bottom as of March 31st this year, and that represents around 11.4% of the total project budget. And those are the project disbursement projections versus actuals for this fiscal year. So again, the first two columns didn't really change much when we look at the projections, but if we look at the March 31st and then June 30th this year, the projections, we actually increased a little bit based on our plan. If everything goes well, meaning the contracts are signed in time, that there's no delays in implementation, we are expected to disperse around $2.2 million by the end of June or early July. When we look at the actuals, we see there's some differences. So we're spending more than what we projected, and it's simply because we're actually, unlike other projects, we're actually dealing with a lot of small value contracts. And a lot of them are usually goods, procuring items. And I'll talk more about procuring goods. But basically, simply because we receive those items on island, that doesn't mean we can make payments right away. There are different processes. For example, we need to complete like inspections, right? And then if the vendors have to provide training to the schools, then that's also like another step that we have to complete. But then we also need like finance support to complete the tagging of this equipment. So without the tagging, we're completing the tagging of the equipment. In principle, we cannot really make the payment. So there are different steps to go through, and sometimes it does take time. And I think that's why when we actually look at the actuals for last September and this December, all the payments were supposed to be made before those time period, but then because of those steps that we have to go through, we end up spending more than what we projected. And for June 30th this year, we still currently don't have a data, but hopefully, and we'll do our best to meet those with that $2.2 million projection. And the two tables at the bottom, so I have two tables. Basically, it wasn't so clear to me when we say disbursement ratios in fiscal 2025. I wasn't so sure if we're talking about the ratios against the total project budget, which is $17.7 million, or just the budget approved for this year. So this year, the budget that was approved was around $5.9 million or $6 million. So that's why I had two different ratios. But as you can see, I think the most important thing is how much we've spent against the total project budget, which is $17.7 million. The actual is still 0.05. But again, this month in April, we expect to disperse additional $350,000 at least. So we'll continue to disperse or spend the project funds. Some of the challenges that I wanted to bring up in terms of meeting disbursement targets for this year, and it's not new. Most of the things we already discussed like last year, 3 months ago. But I just wanted to add, like for example, the first one, there have been some changes to the contract routing requirements between January and February, and unfortunately, some of the because we actually. So the reason that also I wanted to thank the NDOE, because the reason that we were able to spend $660,000 given the small contract values is really because NDOE was part of the evaluation processes during December and January. But unfortunately, the contract that we routed in January were returned. Even though the new directive was given like in February. So we had a lot of contract returns, unfortunately, and then we had to make some adjustments, and then some of the contracts have just started being signed. And the second point, which is delays in the contract routing process, this is, again, it's more of the general delays that we're dealing with, and I don't know how other projects feel about this, but I personally feel that this year, compared to last year, the routing process actually getting worse. Last year, it took about 30 days, just starting from implementing agency to finance to justice. But this year, we're experiencing sometimes 2 months, 3 months. So again, I think those routing process lead time is so critical, especially when we are dealing with like a short-term assignment. The third challenge, just mentioned, so sometimes at the state level, we're experiencing delays in tagging some of the fixed assets. Until that is done, we really cannot make a payment. But luckily, things are moving forward, so hopefully we can also make payments of the equipment that were delivered like last year or early this year. The first challenge, it's new, and that's actually what I have currently or very recently experienced. So some of the procurement activities were returned, and the bank team wanted to discuss procurement efficiency or the strategy way of procuring items. And we're very happy to discuss those important matters to prepare for example, let's say the third year of performance grants, because the next cycle will start from October or November, sorry. But we're currently in the middle of implementation of the second year. And having that discussions, which actually ended up taking a month, was really helping us to move things forward, even though some of the approaches that we actually selected may not be so ideally efficient. But I think this year, our priority is to meet the disbursement targets, and it'll be great if the implementing agency and also the PIU can have some space to make certain decisions or manage some certain decisions, especially for post-review activities. And the last one, this year, all the schools that we're working with, they wanted to start some sort of construction activities, either new construction or renovation. But in terms of preparing the design or supporting documents for some schools, have been a bit slow. And the design is important, and supporting documents are important because it's not that we can immediately start the bidding process, but we also need to prepare the ENS instruments, which will then be inserted in the bidding documents. So there are things that need to be done, that could have been done in January, but some of the schools, they just submitted their designs, and we'll have to see how we can also adjust the timelines, etc. But those are the 5 major challenges that I just wanted to highlight in terms of meeting the disbursement targets this year or for the past 6 months. This slide, again, the disbursement projections. The only change that I made for this slide is the last 2 columns, which is June 30th, 2025. Last year, our projection was around 1.7, but we'll do our best. Again, it really depends on how soon we can have the contract ready, etc. But we'll do our best to meet this 2.2 million projection by the end of June. So that means by the end of June, if everything goes well, the overall disbursement rate is estimated at 17.3%. And we still have, as I mentioned, this year the amount approved for this fiscal year is around $5.9 million, right? So the reason that we're still missing a couple of $1 million is because assuming that we're gonna start the major construction activities from this summer. Right, so, and again, we do have several cross-cutting issues, but I just want to focus on what happened for the past 3 months since we had the first Cppr. So to me, the most important cross-cutting issue in terms of project implementation, of course, the contract routing lead times. And the list doesn't cover all the contract that we actually managed between January and March. But some of the contract, I just wanted to show some data. So, for example, let's look at the first contract, the TVET website development. So the contract was transferred from DOFA to DOJ on November 15th. And the consultant was supposed to work additional, I believe, like 5 months. But unfortunately, the contract was returned, not returned, well, it was returned a few times, but basically it was signed at the end of February. Which means then the consultant only has like 2 months to work on what he was supposed to work throughout the 5 months, right? So this is exactly what I was talking about. The extended contract routing times really does affect project implementations, especially for short-term assignments. Other things, let's look at, all right, so the third contract from the bottom, the contract management officer. So the contract was initially transferred from DOFA to DOJ on January 24th. But it was returned because of the new directive, right? And then it was returned again because we submitted the documents, I think, to like early Feb, but it was returned like in mid-March. And this time, although the DOJ, they acknowledged that we this time followed all the new instructions, but then they still asked us to make another revision, which was basically changing the template, one of the languages in the template. So that's something that I also wanted to seek CIU's support, because if that message or instruction is not just from one AAG, but it's actually from the entire department, then that should be actually communicated with at least like DOFA or CIU, so that the changes should be incorporated in the template, because everyone's using the same template, right? We sent a response memo to DOJ just to clarify whether or not that's a new instruction. Well, we never got a response, but then the contract actually moved forward. And another thing that I wanted to highlight is that when we actually look at the lead time, and we're just focusing on the legal review. If you look at it, sometimes it takes like up to 3 months, 3 weeks. Some of the contracts since January or Feb, we still don't have the contract yet. Or sometimes it just takes like a week. And what the data tells us is that I think there might be some inconsistencies in guidance or their timeline. According to our secretary, the DOJ needs around like just 3 days to review the documents, but our data says otherwise. Yes, so this is just an overview of what we actually had to go through for the past 3 months. And we started getting those like contracts, fortunately, so that we can start those activities since March. All right, so, and I'll just briefly talk about component-specific issues or achievements, but under the first component, I mean, we do have 3 different subcomponents, but I wanted to highlight the performance grants, even though we only have 15 minutes to present. Performance grants, it's still one of the subcomponents that is actually going quite good within the C project. But we still are dealing with some of the issues. And most of those like 4 issues, I think that the first 3, we already talked about this before, but I just want to remind that since we have a lot, like huge allocations under performance grants, the cycle of the performance grant program, just the way it was designed, because we are starting, each cycle starts from November. So by the end of the November, the schools are supposed to submit their implementation plan, and then it usually takes about 1 or 2 weeks for the NDOE to review and approve it, right? So then, if everything is okay in the plan, then by mid-December, that's when we can start the procurement processes of some of the activities. And that's usually, again, one of the lightest month of the year, and that sometimes goes until like mid-January. So that actually does affect our disbursement or procurement processes. Another issue that we talked about last year is the development of ENS instruments for the proposed construction activities. And I would like to say thank you for the TTLs and the World Bank team, because they're actually supporting us to prepare or draft the ENS instruments. So now a few days ago, we got the NSR instruments for most of the schools. And now with Shiva and I are reviewing the documents. So hopefully by mid-April, we can at least start the bidding processes for one of the schools. The late submission of performance grant implementation plan by certain schools, that continues to be a challenge. And again, the last point is kind of new, but I already mentioned it before. I think having these discussions on procurement efficiency strategies could actually, it'll benefit the project, but perhaps it'll be more beneficial if we can have the conversations to prepare the upcoming implementation instead of just having it during the implementation. Just to address those issues, I didn't really change much. The first 3 points were quite okay. The fourth point, it's just again, if the implementing agency and the PIU could have some space for flexibility to manage or make decisions for post-review activities, that will help us to disperse more.
Can you be a bit more specific? What type of activities?
So we submitted 3 procurement RFQ goods activities in mid-February, and it was returned 2 weeks by the bank 2 weeks later. And then the reason was that because we're dealing with the state and schools, so we've been having the separate procurement activities per state. But I think from procurement point of view, there could be more. There should be more efficient way of dealing with this, like a separate activities, which is completely understandable. But having that discussions actually took a while, and we still haven't been able to move things forward. But then I think one of the details had a meeting with the procurement team yesterday, so I'm going to submit the new activities, and then we'll just move forward with the return activities.
Can you elaborate? You mentioned somewhere that the performance grant, the way it's set up, is not very ideal. So what did you mean by that?
Could you just...
The performance grants, you said the way it's by design that it actually causes all these delays.
So
what did you mean by that?
It's not the only reason that contributes to the delays, but it's just like the cycle, because it starts, each cycle, it starts from November each year. And then the first week of the first month of the implementation with the cycle, the schools are supposed to school needs to submit their annual implementation plan, and then it usually takes about a week or 2 for the implementing agency to review the implementation plan and then approve it. So by then we're already the mid-December. So that's when we're gonna start the procurement activities, like advertising, preparing. Within 2 weeks, then we'll start like evaluating those quotations, etc. But this year, for example, we advertised couple of one RFQ goods activity. But we had such a low responses because it was towards the end of December. So we had to continue to extend the deadlines a few times. So, but if it was just like, let's say like September, October, within 2 weeks, we usually get a good number of quotations, but that really wasn't the case. So,
so basically the timing is
it's
wrong,
timing.
and it's on an annual basis. Every
annual
year
basis.
they have to submit new plans. Why is that?
Because it's a performance grant, so their next year's allocation will be determined by their previous year's performance. Like, for example, how much they've dispersed. So based
How much
on
they have?
dispersed. Because for example, year 1 last year, each of the schools were given $125,000, but this because we went through restructuring, so it wasn't really reflected. But for example, this year, one of the schools got $200,000. Next year's allocation, they might not get the same amount, depending on how well they performed during the current year. So that's why the NDOE actually needs some time to review the previous year's performance and also see the new implementation plan. Because we also want to make sure, because I think it's important to make sure that the school use performance grants for the right purposes. And then the schools, they usually have a detailed plans, but we just need like some time to review those documents.
Right. Just to say that Zyda is online, so I've asked Zyda if she wants to perhaps respond to the discussion about flexibility in terms of post-review activities. Zyda, did you hear the discussion, or do you want the project manager just to summarize?
Hi, Valerie. Yes, in fact, my computer was being restarted again. I couldn't keep it because I had an issue. Yeah, if you don't mind, if you could repeat what is the question, because it's breaking a lot from my end also. I was what you said is not from my end, but anyway, Karen, if you could repeat, please, I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Right. So Carly, just give me a go. So let me just explain, summarize like what was just explained. So I mean, it's really I think for us now that we are really doing our best to meet the disbursement targets for this fiscal year, I think the question really is about when we should have that discussions on procurement efficiency and whether or not what we are trying to do is a strategy enough. And again, it's important to talk about those matters, but perhaps I think it'll be easier for us to continue the conversations just to prepare for year 3 implementation instead of just having the discussions mid-implementation, especially if it's post-review activities. So that's why we're just like asking if we could have some space or flexibility in making certain decisions so that we can just move things forward.
So but there's a procurement plan which was cleared by the bank, no objection.
No, it was returned.
It was returned. So you're asking flexibility for what?
So for example, we wanted to procure the goods at the state level. So meaning that if we have 3 activities, then we'll have 3 different evaluation committee, which will be represented by PIU, the State Department of Education, and also the school, because the school is supposed to know best, right? But I think that may not appear very effective. So it was returned, and then there were some suggestions. But again, I think it'll be great because next year we're actually going to spend a lot more. Will be a lot more items. So if we can, for example, one of the suggestions or recommendations, why don't we have a framework? But then creating the framework will take some time. So we can definitely go with those recommendations to prepare year 3 so that once the new fiscal year starts, then we can immediately have the framework in place and then move forward with the procurement activities.
One moment. The people online are not hearing. For those people...
Arlene?
Yes, for those people who are not speaking, can you turn off the mic? Turn off the mic, please. And let us see if there...
Carly, could I come in, please?
Who is that?
Sean.
Sean?
Hi, this is Sean.
Yeah, just 1 minute. We're trying to see if we can resolve the microphone issue, including my mic. All right, go ahead, Sean. Go ahead.
Thanks very much. Yeah, I'm also having trouble hearing what's going on in the room. It looks like, I don't know if there's a room microphone. It looks like the mic is coming through Carlene's device. But anyway, I appreciate the technical challenges sometimes we have. On this, first, I absolutely agree that this is something we can discuss at the MTR and find a good way forward for the subsequent years of the performance security program. For this year, I think the issue had to do with centralized versus decentralized procurement. And DOE's preference